2014, I got injured at work. I used to work in an airline. And I tore my rotator cuff, frayed a bicep tendon, and tore my bicep in my right arm, which is my dominant arm. Of course, I try to be a tough girl and be like, oh, I'm fine. Just put me in a sling, I'll be fine. Yeah, no, that's not how it played out. So later on, 2014, actually, no, it was the beginning of 2015. I got diagnosed with a rare and debilitating disease. They call it rare, but I've met so many people that have it that I don't believe it's rare. I just believe that it doesn't have the justification like cancer. My disease kills. It's known as the suicide disease. I have what's called complex regional pain syndrome. There's complex regional pain syndrome 1, which involves your nerves, saying that you have like nerve damage and stuff like that. And then there's complex regional pain syndrome 2, which is what I have. None of my nerves are actually technically damaged that they can see on a screen or whatever. They have this horrible medieval torture device called an EEG, yeah, where they put all these little probes inside your muscles and make them twitch and turn, and then you have to adjust your arm and your body to how they want it to move, and then they send these electric pulses through into your muscles. Well, someone with my disease, which cripples your muscles, it feels like someone's killing you. Like they're literally just ripping your muscles off your bone. That's what it feels like. And the people that did my EEG told me I was being dramatic. They don't know me. They don't know how tough I normally am. Normally, I can take anything. But ever since this disease, I can't take nothing. I have been brought down to my knees. And maybe I needed to be humbled. I did. Because, I was a cocky SOB. I really was. I felt I could fix anything. That I didn't need anybody to do anything for me. I could do it. That's not true. I've had to depend more on people so much these past few years. It's been ridiculous. Anyway, back to my story. So 2014, I get injured in October. In November, I tell him I can't work. I can't do it no more. I can't suck up the pain. The pain just keeps getting worse and worse. And that's how CRPS works. You get injured in one of your limbs and it just continues to get worse and worse and worse if it's not attended to. And even if it is attended to and they realize what you have, it's still eventually going to get worse. But you can be put on pain meds to kind of subside it. The first orthopedist that they sent me to, he focused directly on my shoulder, where he asked me, where's the pain? And I said, my shoulder, my back, my neck, my bicep, and my forearm. He only got an MRI of my shoulder. Found out that I had a torn rotator cuff. He said, oh, you're young enough, you'll heal. Mind you, people, I was 35 at the time. Okay. You can do the math later on. 35. I had a 50% tear. Now, mind you, during this time, now I know I'm not as important as him, but during this time, one of the very famous basketball players had a torn rotator cuff, 40% tear. They took him immediately to surgery. Not me. Why? Because I'm not a basketball player. I don't use my arm as aggressively as a basketball player, according to said orthopedist. Well, I worked at the airport. I was a supervisor at a field station. What that means is I'm the boss, but I still have to do what everybody else does. Like load and unload a plane. Mind you, we're the airport that's closest to a military base, a Marine military base. Those dudes deploy all the time. And as a matter of fact, the airplane that I was working on was full of nothing but Marines. I'm not blaming it on the Marines. I love Marines. Hoorah. My brother was a Marine. Well, is a Marine. Once a Marine, always a Marine. So, I don't use my arm enough, according to him. I lift 100-pound bags. Okay? 50 to 100-pound bags. Every single plane. Coming in, going out. Bags. Your regular carry-on luggage. It usually runs anywhere from 30 to 40 pounds. I have to lift those bags. There's passengers that can't get up in the plane by themselves. I have to literally carry them on the plane. Those people, shoot, some of those people took up 2 seats. How big you gotta be to take up 2 seats? Around 400 pounds. Now, mind you, I didn't lift this 400-pound person by myself. It was me, and depending on the size of the person, there would be at least one more other person carrying the person with me. If they were even heavier, sometimes 3 to 4. But that's still a lot of weight that I'm doing every single flight. But my arm isn't as important as a basketball player. A basketball player, don't get me wrong, is very important for entertaining. That's their job. I understand. But I count too. I begged them, just give me the surgery and I'll heal. I'll stop hurting. The pain just kept getting worse and worse. And this guy, I'm not going to give you his name because I'm actually under a hush order from my settlement. So this guy, A, told me that I was young enough to heal on my own, and B, told me I didn't need any pain, anything for pain, that ibuprofen was enough. Ibuprofen for a torn rotator cuff. And not to let alone, but come to find out, I had a frayed bicep muscle, a torn bicep, and also there's a torn piece of my, I always get this word wrong, scapula? I always call it my back wing. You know, right back here? Yeah. So, the day I injured myself, I was loading a plane full of Marines. They were all getting deployed out. When they deploy, they can take up to 4 bags, 4 check bags. Those 4 check bags can be up to 100 pounds apiece. And I don't know about you, but when these Marines go out of town, they want to take everything with them because they're gone for months, sometimes years. So they need everything. And I don't blame them for taking everything. They need it. So this plane's at 50 people, and it was all full. It was full flight. So 50 Marines, all going overseas, all on deployment orders. Every single one of them had 4 check bags. I had to send out multiple planes with those bags because they were too heavy for the plane. That tells you how much I was lifting that day. But on that plane, the very last bag was stuck on our bag cart. There's like curtains that you pull so the bags don't come flying out when you're coming around the ramp. Well, one got stuck. I lifted, went to the back, went to yank it to loosen it. Once I did, felt this pop in my shoulder and then a burn. I screamed. Screamed loud enough that my buddy Benny heard me over the engines. Came rushing over to me. Are you okay? I was like, man, something popped, but I'm good. I got it. I'm fine. So I kept going. Got the plane loaded. Benny went and took the bag cart around back to the bag bin. The plane needed to get out. I always made sure my planes went out on time. Always. I got in trouble if it didn't. So that day we had to use a ramp for the plane. Mind you, this is a field station. We don't have the big bridges that connect to the plane and like suction cup to its face. We don't have those. We have stairs that you push to the plane that basically sit like right next to the plane that people will walk up to get there. On certain aircraft, you need them. That ramp weighed 750 pounds. You didn't have to lift it, but you had to either push or pull 750 pounds. Do you get where I'm going with the whole I need my arm just as much as a basketball player? Anyway, enough of that. So on this ramp, it had a brake pulley system. You had to squeeze to release the brake. And I would always squeeze with my right hand because that's my toughest grip. And I went to squeeze with my right hand this time and it wouldn't squeeze. So I didn't think anything of it. Took my left one, squeezed it to release the brake, wrapped my right arm around the pole and pulled it away from the plane. My arm went hot. I pulled something else. I'm pretty sure that's when I tore my bicep. Pretty sure. Anyway, so still had to get the plane out. So I marshaled the plane out, go into the office. I'm doing my paperwork like I do for every flight. Another supervisor comes in and says, "Hey, Chris, I heard you got injured on this last flight. Make sure you report it." And I said, yeah, I'm fine. And he's like, "I don't think so. I think you need to go to the hospital." I was like, "What are you talking about?" I was like, "I'm fine." And he's like, "Look down at your arm." Well, I was wearing a polo shirt that our polos like grip around your arm with the sleeves so that way the wind doesn't blow up. My arm was so swollen that it rolled the sleeve all the way up to my shoulder. And it was turning blue in little shades of black. So I was like, yeah, I do need to go. So I hate the hospital. Hate the hospital. I have since I was little because I constantly had to go to the hospital for infections, like kidney infections when I was little. So anyway, I go to the urgent care. The urgent care says, "Oh, you probably have tennis elbow. Let's put you in a sling, give you some steroids and some pain meds. You'll be fine. Don't use that arm." Good. Done. On it. Yeah, I know. 2 days. It was day 2 from when I went and saw her. I couldn't take the pain. I had been crying for 2 days, screaming, because the pain just kept getting worse. So I told my husband, I was like, "Just take me to the emergency room. I can't take it no more." Which he knew that was huge. I had to be dying for him to take me to the emergency room. So he took me. Not only the fact that my arm was basically black, he took me. We get there and the emergency room doctor says, "I don't know who you saw, but they should have told you needed to see an orthopedist because I guarantee you tore a muscle because of how dark your arm is and how swollen it is." He's like, "They should have known." And he's like, "You can't be on steroids because all it's doing is making your muscles flex. So all it's doing is hurting your muscle instead of helping it. Medicine that was supposed to help me hurt me." So that brings me to the quack that told me I'll heal on my own. I'm young enough, whatever. I eventually fired him because I kept telling him, I'm in pain. It's worse. He took another MRI. That's when they found out that I had a frayed bicep tendon. I said, please MRI the rest of my arm. And it was only because they finally saw that frayed bicep tendon that he agreed to MRI my bicep. MRI's my bicep. I have a torn bicep muscle. He said it's not that big of a tear. You'll be fine. And he said it so quick that I didn't hear him. All I heard was, you'll be fine. There's nothing wrong. And I said, so there's nothing else we can do to stop this pain. You won't give me surgery to fix this stuff now that there's more stuff that's wrong with me. He said, no, you don't need surgery. It would be pointless. And your pain should be going down. I said, it's not. It's getting worse. I call you crying almost every single day. And he treated me like I was a crackhead. I don't take drugs. Now, did I do young, stupid stuff in my younger years? Yeah. But I didn't take drugs. I worked at the airlines. The airlines, you get drug tested randomly all the time. And I was a supervisor. So anytime there was a drug test, I automatically had to take it. I didn't have the union to protect me or anything else like that as a supervisor. As a supervisor, you're on your own. I have always been in a position of management in any of my jobs, meaning I have to get drug tested all the time. Anytime you get injured, you gotta get drug tested. Anytime an incident happens, when you're the supervisor or manager on duty, that person gets drug tested along with the person who caused the accident. So it would be completely stupid of me to be on drugs. But he treated me like I was. Because of this whole opioid crisis that the rest of the world is on. That's the rest of the world. Not everyone is a crackhead. Not everyone is an addict just looking for their next fix and trying to create this elaborate thing. I was literally in pain. He could see it on an MRI and it meant nothing to him. Nothing. But okay, let's go with that. So I fire him. I call up my workman's comp nurse and I'm like, look, what do I have to do to get a different doctor? And she said, you can only do it once. So make it good. Make it good, Christina. Not a problem. I did my research. I found the best doctor, the closest to me. He was in Goldsboro. Well, just so happened my mom and daddy live there. So I said, okay, I'm gonna go see him. Well, he wanted to see my stuff first, and he agreed just to meet me because he didn't know or didn't understand why I would fire an orthopedist. So he thought maybe I was trying to get over. Maybe I was trying to fake. So he wanted to meet me first. Well, because I fired an orthopedist, they sent my caseworker down from Charlotte to make sure that I wasn't trying to pull one over on them. I know there's some grimy people out there, but when I tell y'all, like my workman's comp nurse that I, just over the phone, she knew that I wasn't lying. She would listen to me cry. Like, this woman cared. She could feel my heart. I love her. I will forever be grateful to her. I know she worked for the enemy, but she never ever treated me like I wasn't a human being. Like I didn't honestly feel pain. Never once did I feel that with her. She constantly was great to me. That was my first one. All the rest after that, not so much. Anyway, so we all go to this doctor in Goldsboro. Of course, my mama comes with me because I'm in Goldsboro. He wants to see just me first without the workman's comp nurse. And he had asked them to send my MRI images, and they didn't. The other doctor's office didn't. Thank God I had them in my purse because I knew the other one was going to cause problems. Pretty smart. So I went inside his office and he said, tell me what happened. So I told him. Told him exactly what happened, just like I told y'all. I said he doesn't believe me that I'm in pain. I said, and I'm dying. I said I literally banged my head against the wall to try to knock myself out because I'm in so much pain. Y'all, and if I cry during me telling you this, please don't feel pity on me or anything else like that, because beautiful things came out of this tragedy. Just listen when I tell you. So, this doctor started going through a test with me. And as soon as he looked, losing track. Went off in a dreamland. One of my disease causes is brain fog. Some of my medications cause brain fog. So if I run off on tangents on different parts of the story, I apologize. It's not my fault. I used to be a great storyteller. Anyway, so he wants to look at my MRIs first and then come back to me. Once he looks at my MRIs, he comes in the room. He asks the nurse to go out and get my workman's comp nurse, my caseworker. Brings her in the room. He said, before I tell you about the MRI, he said, I want to do an actual physical exam first. He said, but I wanted you here for this. So he started where I have to like hold my arms out and like have him push up and down on them and stuff like that. And he judges the difference between this arm and my right arm and whatnot. So I was explaining to him how my right hand goes so cold, it turns blue. And my bicep or near my shoulder will go so hot, it turns red at the same time that my hand is blue. And it hurts to touch. It hurts for the wind to touch. It hurts for sun to touch. Anything to touch it. Hurt. Everything. Hurt. So he keeps going through his exam. Now mind you, he's already touched both my hands. He's already looked at both my hands. Continues on. And I said, oh, there it goes. And he said, there what goes? I said, look at my hand. And I turned my hand over. It was blue. About as blue as my shirt. Blue. And ice cold. And I said, there goes my shoulder. Went piping hot red. And it got like goosebumps on it, but it was hot. He said, okay. And he looked at my workman's comp nurse. And he was going through my folders. And he said, who did y'all send this girl to? What kind of doctor saw this woman? And she said, another orthopedist. And he said, I don't believe that he was an orthopedist. He said if he was, he would have seen on the MRIs that she has a torn bicep muscle and a torn scapula. And she's like, that was never reported by even the radiologist. And he said, no, there was a question mark. He said, from the radiologist, there was a note to the doctor saying, you need to MRI farther. And they asked for more MRIs, and the doctor never told me that. He, in all his glory, felt he was right. And he didn't want to admit that he was wrong. Well, this doctor, Dr. B, we'll call him. I don't have his permission to call out his name. So, Dr. B said, I'm here to help you. I am going to do surgery on all of this. I was so happy. I just started crying. Somebody believed me. To be in pain for so long. I was on month 4. Almost 4. Of just being in pain. And for someone who had an MD behind his name, who could actually do something for me, believed me. That's so much for someone who is in pain 24/7 to know that you're not crazy. You're not making this up. He can see it. They can see it. And then he said, but first I need to run a couple more tests because I'm worried you have something else. I said, okay. I was still excited. I had no clue what he was worried about. All I knew was he said I could have surgery. And I knew with surgery I would be okay. I just knew it. So he sent me to a pain specialist. And he also sent me for a nerve test, that EGG. Most horrible thing ever. They put these probes in you and just, the pain is unreal. But the pain specialist, he said, I agree with your doctor. He said, but your doctor wants to be the one to diagnose you, so you need to see him. I said, okay. So, the next day I went to go see Dr. B. And Dr. B went from this happy-go-lucky man to sit down, pulled his chair up in front of me. He leaned in close. And he had tears welling up in his eyes. And he grabbed my hand. And he said, Christina, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. And he wept for me. And he said he'd be praying for me. Someone with a medical degree saying they're gonna pray for me because there's nothing they can do. That there's no cure. And that it can't give me surgery because it'll just be worse. He said I'll just have to continue to keep having surgery after surgery. And I said, Dr. B, what is it? What's so horrible? And he handed me this pamphlet. It was thick. He printed out all these pages for me and it was like a book. He said, this is everything that we know in the medical community. You have a disease. And I said, no. I have an injury. And he said, your injury woke up this disease in your body. And he said, and there's no cure. He said, we can try to help you with the pain. You'll be seeing the pain specialist that you saw at help diagnose you. He said, but you go home and you sit down and you read this, Christina. He said, read it word for word and understand what's coming. Because it's gonna get worse. And I thought, oh my God. What am I gonna do? How am I gonna do this? All I wanted to do was go back to work. I wanted to just be me. He said that there's new things out there, new trials all the time. And that it's gonna be a long road and for me to prepare myself. It took me 2 weeks to read that pamphlet because each page would make me cry and make me scared about what the future holds. Each page. I told my husband, you need to read it. You need to know what's coming. He kept avoiding it. He said, I will. I'll read it. Just not right now. I kept going, not right now, not right now. Finally, one day, I just got upset with him. I basically played a guilt trip on him, but it was because I needed him to understand. I needed him to know where I'm at here and on my body. I needed my partner to help be my advocate. Because it was going to be a tough road and I needed him to know what was coming. So, I left him in the room with a stack of papers. I took his phone and I said, please, just focus and read as much as you can. He stayed in there for hours and he read the whole thing. And he came out and he fell to his knees and he wrapped his arms around my waist. And he looked up at me and he said, baby, I'm so sorry. He said, but whatever comes, whatever happens, I'm here. He said, I promised you and I promised God. Through thick and thin. He said, I got you. And he has. I hear so many people. And my heart breaks for them. So many people that have my disease that their spouse has left them because they can't take it. They can't take the constant up, down, up, down. The constant in pain. I got blessed with a great pain specialist team and a great orthopedist who all believe me. Never once do they question, am I really in pain? They all treat me like I'm a human. They know me by my name. I don't even have to check in. The girls at the front, they know me. They ask me about my regular life. They treat me like they're my friend. And it helps.
It helps to know that you have other people in your corner who are gonna be there to help you, who are gonna care. You need your medical people to care, to be there for you. But in the same boat, you have to be nice to them. I've seen these girls. I know everybody that comes in there is in pain. I know that. But just because you're in pain doesn't make it okay for you to be ugly to other people. They're just trying to do their job, and at the best of their ability, they didn't cause your pain. They're trying to help you. So be nice to them. You don't know what they dealt with before you got there. This is what I try to constantly remember anytime I encounter anybody who's upset. It's what happened to them before I got there. Anyway, so next came a whole bunch of trial and error medicines, procedures, dealing with workman's comp. It was exhausting. They would send people, detectives, private eyes, whatever you want to call them, to come take video of me, pictures of me, anytime I was out of the house. To get with grocery stores, it was relentless. They were trying to prove that I was faking, that I didn't want to go back to work, that I just wanted to sit on the airline's like dime. Like, no, I loved working. I loved my job. To think anybody like me, I'm an extrovert. I love people. I need to be around people. And the first year, I locked myself basically in my house and excommunicated everybody but my family. Only because my family was stubborn and wouldn't let me excommunicate them. I didn't want anybody around me because all I did was cry. All I did was hurt. I was exhausted all the time. We couldn't get my pain meds right. None of the procedures were working for me. Everything was getting worse. I kept getting new diseases diagnosed. Age 35. No, I was 36 at the time. Age 36. I got shingles. A 36-year-old getting shingles. Age 36. Kidney stones. Tons of kidney stones. I still to this day get kidney stones. At least, probably about 5 times a year I get kidney stones. And my kidney stones are the kind that aren't caused by what I eat. They're caused by my meds. And the fact that my kidney isn't doing great. The fact that my kidney bleeds on a regular basis and they don't know why. So there's blood continuously in my urine. None of this was ever happening before. Until I got diagnosed with this disease that cripples my body. I get beyond exhausted just grocery shopping. Just going inside the grocery store for like 10 items. Exhausted. For the first, I don't know, 2.5 years, I would sleep maybe 2 to 3 hours a night. I didn't sleep during the day. I'm not one of those people. I can't nap. No matter how exhausted I am, I can't nap. So I just looked worse. I looked awful. Like black bags underneath my eyes. My hair was falling out. Anyway, if you're wondering about my face, 2012, I got what everyone else diagnosed me with as Bell's palsy. Actually, come to find out, it was Ramsay-Hunt syndrome, another rare disease. What it is a type of shingle that's in your nerves in your face, and it eats away at the nerves. So from 2012 until 2016, when I actually got diagnosed, it was still eating away at my facial nerves. So like all this is paralyzed. Like I can still feel like you poking and stuff like that, but like as far as my muscles and stuff like that on the side, they don't work. My eyes, they do cuckoo things, like they move all crazy. So I'm sure it's exhausting watching my face. But yeah, so that's why I don't smile 100%, because it's crooked. It's like I'm trying to impersonate Elvis, like oh, but that's just the only way I can talk. I can't get this side to stay with me. See? Yeah. So, yeah, my kidney was going to crap. My liver started showing bad signs. My asthma came back. I hadn't had asthma since I was like 6 years old. It came back. I got diagnosed with continuous walking pneumonia. I had that for a year and a half, some change. It was horrible. I couldn't breathe. Like, I'd get winded just going down the stairs. Like, the stairs in my front is like five steps. I would get winded. Bend down and pick something up, I get winded. Like, I know heavier set, but before all this was happening, I was going to the gym 5 days a week. Loved the gym. I've always been heavier set because I have another disease that I was diagnosed with when I was 15, polycystic ovarian syndrome, which has to deal with my ovaries, but it has to deal with my hormones because that's what keeps the weight on me. That's why also the other reason why we don't have any babies, because my polycystic ovarian syndrome is super strong. If I'm gonna have something, it's always gonna be super strong. Anyway, as time went on, I finally got into a decent pain regimen that I could keep my pain level down. You know, when you go to the doctor and they're like, or the emergency room, like, where's your pain at? Between 1 and 10, 10 being the highest, 0 being the least. When I first got diagnosed with this, I'd always tell everyone that I was at a 14. I'm not even on your scale. And anyone with CRPS, or what it used to be called RSD, anyone with CRPS or RSD would tell you the pain scales that are at the hospital don't count for CRPS patients. Because when I tell you it's a 14, it's a 14. What CRPS is like, you ever put your hand in an ice cold bath? Like a bath of ice water. Like when you have to like shock vegetables or whatever, and you make a bath of ice water. Instead of putting the vegetables in, put your hand in. It'll start burning. You're in ice, but it's burning. But you get to pull your hand out. I never get to pull out. This whole arm, it ice burns. It gives you muscle spasms to the point of where it feels like my muscles are breaking my bone. Like the muscles that are around that bone of like your arm, they're crushing my bone is what it feels like. That's the only way to describe it. That's the muscle spasms. Then you got the nerve pain. The nerve pain of just your nerves. You can feel everything. Anything hurts. They just vibrate, like your nerves just vibrate like they're full of electricity, and you can't do nothing about them. Then there's the touch pain sensitivity, and that's when everything really hurts. You can't put your sheet on you. You can't go outside because light hurts you. The sun hurts. Wind, even a faint light wind, if it moves the hairs on your arm, so much pain. Now that the touch pain isn't all the time. It was when it first started. It sure was. But like I said, I've had a lot of procedures done, a lot of injections, a lot of trials of different meds. So I'm currently on a 24-hour pain medication. Yes, it's an opiate. A nerve blocker for my nerves. I'm also a relaxer for my muscles. I was on ibuprofen as well for swelling, but I got diagnosed with another disease called gastroparesis. It's a rare stomach disease that my stomach decides the muscles don't work and it can't really digest food. So raw foods like salads, which I love, can't have because my body can't digest them. I can have cooked vegetables to a certain extent. I can't like overdo it. I can't like eat a whole entire bowl full of spinach or whatever because I'll be huddled over the toilet all night long. Anyway, so that made me go gluten-free because the gluten wasn't doing well in my system. I had taken out dairy too, but come to find out it wasn't the dairy. The lactose I can't do, but yeah, I took the gluten out and my swelling calmed down a lot. Like the rest of my body wasn't swelling all the time, like my legs, my neck, my arms. So ibuprofen I was on for years. And then come to find out when they found out about the whole gastroparesis thing that my stomach wall lining was so thin from all the ibuprofen that literally it was almost to the point where my stomach was about to burst open because the wall lining was so thin. So yeah, had to get off those and take some random new medicine to help build up my stomach lining, and which is fine now. Thanks for asking. So I stay off ibuprofen. I don't take it at all, even if I have the worst cramps in the world. I will not take it. I also have a compound pain cream, which has ketamine in it, lidocaine, baclofen, and it used to have ibuprofen in it, but again, took it out. So that gets slathered all over my arm and makes me smell like medicine. Yay. Oh yeah, because of all my pain and everything else like that, it made my blood pressure go through the roof. So for the first few years into this thing, I was on three different blood pressure medications. I am now on one, which I only take when my blood pressure goes up because all of a sudden my blood pressure decided I'm gonna drop out of sight, and then Christina's gonna be passed out on the floor. Yeah. So my life has been a roller coaster since CRPS. But I'll tell you this, my life's not over. I'm not done. Throughout this whole entire thing, it's done nothing but bring me closer to God. Because anytime and I'm talking anytime, I cry out to God because none of my pain medication is working, nothing's helping, and I'm in such a horrible flare that I can't take it, except for cry out to God and beg Him just to make it stop. That's where people end up taking their lives, because they just cry out in pain, and they're not crying out to God. They're just crying out, and they feel like they have no hope because they have no God to turn to. They can't feel His love because they don't know Him, and they let go. They say, that's it, I can't take it, and they let go. And my heart breaks for those people. I cry out to God and beg Him to stop the pain. And eventually He does. He stops the pain. And it's such a big stop that I can breathe again. Like, I finally was able to take in a full breath. And I thank Him for it. And I go, okay. When I cry out, He does listen. He does hear me. And He does free me. So just know this. CRPS does not run me. CRPS does not own me. CRPS does not control my life. Do you hear me? It doesn't have to for yours either. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to cry out to God. Try it. Seek Him. I know you thought I was going to tell you about some wonderful medicine that was going to help you. But to be honest, it just depends on your body, the combination for your pain. Not all CRPS are created equal. Not what works for me works for other people. But I promise you, my God will work for you. My God will make you feel like you're not alone. My God will just pour His love on you and hold you while you cry. And He'll release the pain so that you can breathe. Don't get me wrong, my pain isn't gone. God hasn't taken my pain. I'm not there yet, or maybe He'll never release me of it. But it doesn't keep me in bed anymore. He has guided me to the right people to help me. He has given me a wonderful husband who takes care of me when I can't. He has given me beautiful people in my life that all I have to do is just ask. Sometimes I don't even have to ask. They just call me and say, Chris, do you need anything? Chrissy, can I help you? Can I come over? Can I come talk to you? For someone who's stuck at home in pain, that means the world. But don't stay at home. Get out. Go have lunch with your friends. Explain to them that there's a chance I might cancel on you because of my pain. Know that I don't want to, but please don't hate me, and please don't stop asking me to go. And join support groups.
They do help. But find someone that's close to you. There's somebody in your town or the next town over that has the same disease. It helps so much to be able to talk to somebody who can truly understand the battle that you're going through. And sit there and cry with each other and know that you're not the only one. And that maybe they know something that you don't know. That there's other treatments out there, and there are. They're expensive, but there are. I hope to be trying a new one soon. But until then, I stay strong and I keep going, and I don't let this disease run me. Only God's allowed to run me. Otherwise, I run me. I do what I want. When you feel good, when you're given a day that you feel good, use it for what it's worth. Don't hesitate to, oh, well, if I move, I might feel pain again, so let me just stay on the couch. Get up. Get up and go and do something. Go have coffee. Go start a craft project. Do something. Don't focus on your pain. Focus on beautiful things that are in the world, and there are a ton of beautiful things. I just want you to know that you're not the only one. I'm here. We're all here. Reach out. Facebook has so many groups of CRPS people, of RSD people. You're not alone. I've held you guys for about an hour now. Thank you for listening to my story. If you made it all the way to the end, I love you all, and I'm praying for you all. It'll get better. We just have to stay together and remember to speak up. Be your own advocate. Don't expect the doctors to know everything, because they don't. A lot of times, CRPS patients know more than their doctor. Educate them. It's okay to speak up. They work for you. You don't work for them. You don't owe them anything. They work for you. You pay them. Your insurance pays them. Or if you pay cash, you pay them. But they work for you. You wouldn't let a plumber just do a half crap job inside your house, or an electrician, or your gardener. You would demand results. So demand them. Don't be ugly about it though, because that'll get you nowhere, except for them saying, go find somebody else. But be your own advocate. Make them understand your story. I love you guys. I'll see you later.